Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev setting things up, and Will Fraser back on the program. You were on with Dustin Nielsen a few weeks back. Now, this is just great. What a banner Friday, and it gets better right now.
Yeah.
Nathan from Irrational Brewing Company joins us. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you in the studio. And again, just make love to that mic. Just get all over it. Get right on in it. We got to ask you, too, and I've been to your brewery. Most of the breweries as a visit, I never really remember after the fact, but I was outside in that patio. 124th, you're on the corner of 124th and
107.
107.
Yep.
So it's right there. A lot of stuff happening in that intersection type of thing. It's a busy little spot, but a great double patio that you guys got out
That's
there.
right. Yeah. We have a patio right on 124th Street, and then also we have a patio in between the buildings there. So it's lots of options, lots of great seating.
Yeah, depends where the sun is, whatever. If it's raining a bit, we always have to start off too with these. How did you get to this seat today? How did you get to Irrational Brewing? Was it?
That's great.
It's usually yourself, a friend, in a bathtub or something like that. That's usually how these stories go. But how did you get to this brick and mortar shop?
You mean like Bert and Ernie?
Use your imagination, if you will. But how did you get to the point you are today? How long did it take?
You know what, Bert? We should start a brewery.
Great job.
So I didn't grow up in Edmonton, so I actually moved here in 2014.
Okay.
Sounds like an Edmontonian to me.
Welcome to the club.
I moved here from the States, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
To do my PhD at the U of A.
Okay.
Moved here in 2014. At that time, the beer scene was sort of in its infancy. There wasn't too much going on in Edmonton. And where I came from,
it was ready to happen.
Go.
Yeah.
And like where I grew up and where I came from, it was called Beer City, USA.
Which is?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
So I grew up...
Underrated town, by the way.
Oh, it's a great town. I love it.
Grand Rapids is like, it's one of those, they call them the flyover cities.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like, oh, you should land because that's a good town.
Wolverines, Spartans, or somebody else?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, I guess it depends on the sport, actually.
Okay.
I'm
Big football game this weekend.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Yeah. So I kind of grew up in that scene, moved out here. I loved Edmonton. And when I finished my PhD, we kind of decided, well, if I stay in the academia train, I really don't get to choose where you want to live, right? It's wherever the job takes you.
Mm-hmm.
So for myself and my wife, we kind of talked about it, and we're like, well, we could open a brewery, right? There's, still a lot of, room in the market for new craft breweries, and that would allow us to stay in Edmonton. And
does your doctorate in any way work with brewing? What is your doctorate in?
So my doctorate's in mathematical biology. So in a little bit it does.
And you've defended your thesis?
You can always find a way. Yeah,
so you are Dr. Nathan.
I am.
We have a doctor on the show.
Dr. Nathan.
Yeah,
Doctor on the show.
Yeah.
Big show. Put it in the phone, Brett. This is, wow.
And the rest is history. And then we decided, let's stay here. Let's open a brewery. And
were you always in that location then? Because that's a pretty prime. Yeah.
Yeah,
good
that
for
was
you.
that's our original location. It's where we started.
It is gorgeous.
Man.
I think everyone listening, if you've been to Edmonton, you've probably seen it, and you've probably made. If you haven't stopped in, you've made that mental note. I got to try that place. Yeah.
It's very iconic.
Yeah. And it's actually, as someone who likes to drink beer and go on walks, there's actually there's a growing sort of community. Do you find that that's kind of key to the success? Is not just making
100%.
sure that you're brewing the good stuff,
Yep.
but that your neighbors are as well.
Yeah, I mean, and even outside breweries as well. Like that's why we picked being on 124th Street. Is there's a lot of wonderful restaurants. There's that great record shop. There's there's Zwick's. There's just so many.
You got Manchester Square even down the road there on 107 or whatever.
So that was our thing, is we wanted to be in a sort of up and coming, developing neighborhood that has great walkability. So, people can go around and, explore other options as well, just outside of us. So,
Amish Man 19 in the nasty chat says, the beer doctor. Maybe henceforth that's what we'll, just for
I'm
today.
Okay with it, yeah.
What do we got on the candy lineup here, though? What's the special? Where do you kind of want to start and take us down the line?
So we brought 4 beers here today. So sort of Sobeys Beer of the Week, that's the first one we brought here. So this guy is Karoshi. So this is a mango sencha rice lager. So sencha is a green tea. We actually use a mango sencha tea from Acquired Taste Tea Company, which is also on 124th Street.
Love it.
And so that will be the beer we start with.
So do you kind of add that the same way you would hops?
As
far as in the brewing cycle, or
I think of it more just of how you would brew a tea. Right? You heat the water up, you steep the tea for a couple of minutes, you take it out, you drink it. So it's a kind of similar process to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's crack into this puppy then and make our way down the line.
Sounds good.
And you got food there as well at the brewery, which is always a nice food menu. Mince and lager gravy pie, Will.
Okay.
You're going to get down on that, aren't you?
Like,
yeah. Lots of pies. That seems
like, are you
meat and veggie
offering it to me
pies.
right now? Because
Not
I'll say
now.
yes.
I'm just
but,
trying
like,
to paint a picture in your mind
no,
here.
like, it's
Flaky,
perfect.
buttery, puff pastry pie filled with locally sourced lean beef, mince, and lager gravy. To name a few. You've got a variety of pies. 5 here, it looks like. Very nice. Yeah, you too, Trev. You get a swill there here. And this is the beer of the week, you said.
This is the beer of the week. Yep, we're going to
Perfect.
start with the beer of the week here. Yeah.
Irrational Brewing,
Well, it smells like what you said it would.
mango
Yeah.
sencha rice pseudo-lager. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got a light fruitiness to it. It's got a little herbal note from the tea itself. Yeah, just like a light lager.
To 124th Street.
Cheers.
That is really nice. Slancha. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah, that is. You shouldn't. You should be
I like
really
that. I like
careful.
that when people they drink it and they're like, wow, that's different. That's something that I haven't experienced before.
I wouldn't say so much that that's different, but that's really nice.
Yeah.
Like
Easy.
Dangerous.
Like when you see that in a glass, like your brain kind of is like, if everything goes right, this should be pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like
The look is nice. and it
like
matches
gentle
up.
is kind of the term. Like it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nothing's fighting back on this,
Exactly. Yeah.
right. Like sometimes you'll pick up a beer and you like the fight, but a lot of the times you're like, did it have to?
Let's
put
be
up
honest.
Such a fight?
Yeah.
Like, this one has nothing like that. It's
No.
just welcoming.
Yeah, no, I would say that probably what we're known for is we're known for brewing probably two different types of things. First, it'd be beers that are not traditional to style, such as this one, right? Using some type of weird adjunct, and then also brewing, very hop-forward beers. Those are probably the two things. And so I tried to bring an assortment of what really showcases who we are as a brewery today.
And it's like, is the brewing kind of a start to finish designed at this beer, or is this something where you're taking a stock and flavoring? What are we?
No, this is start to finish.
Yeah.
This is this beer. Yeah.
Which is sometimes what you can pick up with certain flavored beers, where you're just
Right.
kind of like, oh, they had a lot of this, and
was-
so
it was an
they thought,
afterthought. Yeah.
let's put this flavoring into it. Whereas, you can kind of tell that this is a fully formed idea from start to finish.
$13.99 for a 4-pack, if I'm reading this correctly, for the beer of the week. Highly recommended here. What are we going to sample next here?
So next one. So we have. So this is an oat cream IPA.
Perfect.
So this is something.
Sounds like November to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice
so
sweater.
We use a lot of different oats in this guy, so it has a really creamy, smooth mouthfeel on it.
What's it called? Turbidity?
Turbidity, yeah. It's extremely turbid,
Fun word.
as you can tell from the color.
Yeah, it almost looks like a Nepa.
Yeah, so it is.
It is, okay.
But we kind of call it an oat cream IPA to sort of differentiate it,
'Kay.
because in here we use it's almost 50% oats
Oh,
in
okay.
the actual brewing process itself. And then uses lots of hops as well. So it's a classic hazy IPA, but definitely very creamy, a little bit sweet, very stone fruit forward.
Matt Hyman asks in the nasty chat, does the doctor recommend any breathing techniques while drinking? Breathing in or out of your nose or mouth? Is there anything you want to suggest there when it comes to your beers?
Yeah, so definitely, if you breathe out through your nose, once you sort of get the beer into your mouth, that actually will help sort of open up a lot of your senses and sort of give you a good experience. Also, sometimes too, like if you're smelling, sort of switching between one nostril.
One nostril.
and
No,
the
yeah.
other.
It's
It
kind of
could-
like taste
could be
buds on
different.
the tongue.
That's a good, doctor's orders. Okay, well, and
Cheers.
the turbidity.
Turbidity,
Cheers to, what do you want? Cheers to oats.
Cheers to oats, yeah.
Now, you said when you first arrived, it was a toddler beer scene. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Are you finding it easier for you to source your ingredients locally, or is this something where you still kind of
Great
have to
question.
go in search elsewhere?
Yeah, no,
of more mature areas.
Yeah, so a lot of the malt that we 95% probably the malt we use is from Alberta.
Okay.
We use a lot of also local maltsters, one of them being Red Shed Malting, based in Penhold, and then the other one being Hogarth Malt, based out in Olds.
Okay.
So we use a lot of their malts. Hops, on the other hand are a little bit more difficult.
True.
A lot of that, most of our hops come from both New Zealand and from Yakima Valley down in Washington.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate this year to be able to actually go down to Yakima about a month ago to actually go down there and experience hop harvest and be able to hand select the hops that we're going to use for the next year.
When you drive through the Okanagan, I don't know if you have, or even Vancouver Island, do you not just sit there and kind of be like, where are the hops? Like, why is this not happening? Like,
it's a very similar climate. I think it could very well work for hops.
Wow. All you millionaires out there who are listening, if you're looking at purchasing some land, it is an untapped business venture, I would think.
I have 3 hops plants in my backyard.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well,
come at me.
Do you use them like...
they're very annoying. They're very aggressive plants.
Yeah, man.
They're very aggressive.
They're taking on a mountain ash tree, like wrapping around.
Yeah,
and,
they're fantastic.
It's amazing. They're like an animal in a sense. I've also noticed that your pretzels on the menu as well from Zwick's.
Yep.
Love that.
Yep.
You guys are open noon to late tomorrow.
Yep.
If people want to venture down and buy, should be good. Good weather tomorrow for the weekend, and patio's still kind of open. You keep that open just kind of by fit and feel. Or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll always have that front patio there open just in case because there are people that love to be out and
I love dressing up.
Drink beer. Yeah,
why not?
Dress
Hey?
up. Yeah. So.
All right, let's keep going down the line here. What's next?
All right. So this one is one of my personal favorite beers. So this is our pineapple peppercorn saison.
Perfect.
Wow.
So saison, it's one of those
Heat
styles.
and sweet.
Yeah, it's one of those styles where either you love it or you hate it. This is my personal favorite style to drink. Kind of how this beer came about is we actually did a collab with Long Roof Brewing a couple years ago, where we both brewed the same base saison but used a different yeast. And the base saison we brewed, our version had a lot of both pineapple and peppercorn flavor, and I was like, "Oh man, I love that."
So where do you get the pine? Is it pineapple or is
It's
this
actually
or is
pineapple?
it the hops that are
No,
doing that?
So you'll get a lot of pineapple and peppercorn flavor from the yeast flavor itself, but then we also do add in pineapple puree and fresh peppercorns as well to the beer to sort of amp that up to the next level. Yeah, so this one will be very dry, a little bit spicy, a little bit fruity.
I love the heat and the sweet, though. I mean, there's a bit of a, you don't get a lot with beers, but like, well, cheers, boys. Yeah. To the heat and the sweet.
Cheers.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That would pair so well with some of the things that he's already mentioned on your menu.
Right? Yeah. And I like the menu for that. Like, you've obviously put a lot of thought into this in terms of having what the food is available for the beer that you make. I mentioned the pretzels by Zwick's, the meat and veggie pies. Also, you make some pizzas.
So you actually.
And that's by Lore?
That's by Lore. Okay. Yeah. So Lore is it's on the west side of the city here. Okay. They make a great.
We talking like a thin type of, or
so they do everything. We do sort of in the intermediate range. We bring in what are called their pizzettas. So it's a sourdough fermented dough.
Okay.
And then we have a couple of different options. Classic cheese, pepperoni, but then we also do a chicken tikka pizza as well, and a veggie. So.
This is nice. It's a great menu, both food and drink, of course, that we're sampling here. But you got some summer slushies as well, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Beer to go. You got the growlers, the howlers, that type of thing. If people want to kind of take it home and sample on their own, that's good to see. What are we finishing off here, I guess, with this morning? As we have Nathan from Irrational Brewing here, 124th Street. Check them out. Corner 124th and 107 Avenue. That's correct. That's the one. Yeah,
got it. So the last beer we got here is this one's called Apuntia Mirage. So this is a red prickly pear and pink guava sour.
Jeez. Look at that color, hey?
Wow. Yeah. Hello. Very vibrant color.
Doctor.
That's great.
Let's text in Beer Me right now to 780-218-9999. $50 on the line to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. Text Beer Me, 780-218-9999, and you'll go into the hat. And $50 on the line. $13.99 for the beer of the week over there. That is if you want to, the Mango Sencha Rice Pseudo-Lager. Karoshi? Yes, correct. $13.99 for a 4-pack at all Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. Once again, text Beer Me 780-218.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now, you buy two. Because
it's a great beer.
Because the first four are going to go real quick.
Yeah. So this beer is we do our little. Just let me say first about this beer, we do our sours a little bit differently.
Okay.
So we actually keep our souring culture alive through the brewing process. A lot of breweries, when they make Sour beers, they'll do what we call kettle sours.
Okay.
So they'll actually add the lactobacillus in the kettle and then boil it to kill that bacteria.
So they're just looking for the sour taste
just looking
off
for
of
the
it.
sour
They're not
taste,
looking for it
not
to
for a
actually
flavor.
interact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what we do is we actually sour in our fermentation tank.
Okay.
So we'll actually do what we call a co-fermentation. So fermentation with the lactobacillus plus the Saccharomyces strain. So the yeast strain that creates the alcohol. So they mingle together.
Is this where the doctorate comes into play?
It helps, yeah.
sounds
Definitely. It's lots of experimentation. And,
Like I would feel like that would stress me out.
oh no, it's
in that like you would have to be really exact, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Like that you can have a
Well-
runaway, you could have
well. Let's drink,
Yeah.
and then we could talk more about that.
'Kay.
So cheers, yeah,
To the Oilers.
to the Oilers. So yeah, so this is it's kind of all figuring out, like you said, how those two interact, and
That-
lots of experiments.
that's an
yeah.
interesting I'll admit, like I have not always been a fan of sours,
Yeah.
but I think there's something going on there
Yeah,
where you say
it's-
like a kettle sour
Yep.
versus this.
Yep.
Maybe it's that kettling that I don't actually
You're not puckering
like.
at all. Not even
No,
close to
this
a-
is we make our sours intentionally less sour than
Yeah.
most places do. Like we're kind of right on that cusp of that 3.5 pH range. Where generally when people make sours, they're between 3.2 to 3.5. So we try to push it on the higher end because we don't like that either. Like,
Yeah,
we
no,
want it
this,
to be-
this tastes
Yeah.
more sour candy
Yep,
than sour milk.
for sure. Yeah,
And
that's a good way to describe
and
it.
I like there's a lot of sours that I have where I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is kind of spoiled
You're
milk.
fighting it again. Type
Yeah,
thing.
whereas no, this is more like a sour Jolly Ranchery type.
Yes.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. The look and the taste.
Yeah.
Great look to it as well. That's a fun beer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing you see is how it looks. So if it looks great, people are going to be like,
Absolutely. Well, it's half the battle there, I
Yeah.
think, too. Yeah.
like when we pour it in our tap room, people see that and they're like, oh, what's that? I want that. Just
Exactly.
because-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an eye catcher. Well, once again, 780-218-9999. Text in Beer Me, and you could get that $50 to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor and help yourself to the Irrational Brewing. Don't just stop at the Beer of the Week. Try the other flavors as well that we've had. Great stuff. I mean, it makes sense that you're a doctor because a lot of these beers are a lot more complex than
Yeah.
some of the others maybe we've had. And that's no offense to anybody else that's been on the show during this segment. But you can tell the work that you've kind of put in into the really fine detail of all
Yeah,
the
like I
brews.
said, we try to just differentiate ourselves a
Yeah.
little bit and make beers that are not true to style.
Yeah.
Like we like adding different ingredients and experimenting a lot. So,
Absolutely.
like I said, that's what we're known for, and we're just going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Go for the beer and just stay for the hang because once again, you got a gorgeous location.
Yeah, thank you.
Like,
Yeah.
It really is. A
Get the
really
meat
nice,
pie.
Get
the meat
pie,
pies.
yeah. And
Yeah.
by the way, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
Like Grand Rapids lost is our game.
I know, yeah.
Like-
Edmonton's a great city. I'm very happy to be here. So I couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.